Freezing temperatures welcome some of the hottest teams in the country to Seattle. It's tourney time in the Great Northwest. It's the first round of the NCAA volleyball playoffs on Pac-12 networks, and the conference champion and the number 3 seed, the University of Washington, the Huskies, hosting the Hornets of Alabama State. 64 teams begin with the same dream and the same strategy. It's simple: survive and advance. The winner of our match will face LSU tomorrow. LSU came from 2 sets down to beat Michigan on this court just moments ago. Hi everybody, Jim Watt alongside the Olympian Kevin Wong. The last 4 months, Washington has been building a pretty impressive resume. Number 5 in the country, number 3 seed in this tournament, 26 victories, conference champions, and Kevin, none of that matters because this is the NCAA tournament and it starts tonight.
And it's single elimination and you can't make a mistake. On paper, you talked about it, such a mismatch, but you start looking at Alabama State, and you got to look at the top. Their coach, Penny Lucas White, confident, a visionary, really a true leader.
Yeah, and at the beginning of the season, Alabama State did not look like a playoff team. They started 1-6, but got hot down the stretch, won 20 out of 23. They also found the Southwestern Conference Player of the Year in Amber Bennett, 386 kills on the season.
She's the biggest force at the net for this Lady Hornet team, the best blocker, the best hitter, needs to have a big match to fight the athleticism of University of Washington.
And Washington is enjoying a dream season. 26 wins, only 2 losses. They won the conference for the first time since 2005, and Krista Van Zandt is the Pac-12 Player of the Year.
She's the franchise. She was the high school Player of the Year, the freshman of the year in the Pac-12, and if she plays her cards right and plays at a high level in this NCAA tournament, she could be the national Player of the Year as well.
Washington has been to the NCAA tournament so often they put it on their schedule. This is 12 years in a row for Alabama State. It's the first time ever. It's the newbies against the veterans. Oh, and by the way, Washington has extra incentive because the Final Four and the championship match in collegiate volleyball just down the road, Key Arena in Seattle. It's the NCAA tournament, first round, Washington and Alabama State, next on Pac-12 Networks. Big crowd inside Alaska Airlines Arena on campus at the University of Washington. We begin the second season. First round of the NCAA playoffs, and it actually began about 3 hours ago here inside the arena. First round, LSU and Michigan, and on hand to watch it, Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson, who is the Prince of the City. Everybody loves him now in the Northwest. LSU lost the first 2 sets, and it looked like it was going to be a sweep for Michigan, but the Tigers came roaring back. The final play, Molly Toon of Michigan is blocked by Desiree Elliott, Maddie Mahaffey, and LSU wins in 5, 15-10, a huge comeback by LSU. So now it falls to the underdogs from Alabama State. But they have a pretty good head coach. Penny Lucas White is in just her 3rd season at Alabama State. She's already won 49 matches, and she's the coach of the year in the conference. I just like the direction she's got the program. 2 third places, and this year they won their first conference title.
And really taking a jump over that second step. They get to the first final, and they go and win it. First NCAA berth, a year of first for Alabama State.
Jim McLaughlin is the 2013 Coach of the Year in the Pac-12. That's the 4th time that he has been given that honor. That is the 2nd most in the conference history. McLaughlin has done everything, including winning a national championship in 2005. He's won over 300 games on Montlake. And just put it this way, every season he's been here, they've won at least 20 matches. Dog pack is on in. The crowd has been filing in during the LSU-Michigan match. They've been waiting for this one to start because the first match went 5. This one is starting about 30 minutes later than expected. Washington was picked 3rd at the start of the season in the Pac-12. They won it. They are 26-2. They went 18-2 in conference. Alabama State has won 25 matches, and they ran the table in the Southwestern Conference. 8-0, their first conference championship, their first appearance in the NCAA tournament. It's come very fast for the Hornets. You wonder how they're going to react to all the pressure, the big lights, and a national TV audience.
Really interesting matchup. Talk about the match we just saw between LSU and Michigan was the closest between RPIs, the number 30 and number 33 team. Here in this match, you got the furthest distance, number 5 and number 278.
These are our 2 officials. The up is Jason Olson. Marcia Cosley is the down. Everybody stands on the first point inside Alaska Airlines. The NCAA tournament is underway in Montlake. Washington looks at your screen, and the home whites trimmed in purple, and Alabama State in their old gold and black. Those are the colors of school. Alabama State is into the net. Violation. The first point of the match goes to UW.
And here we see Kaylee Nelson. Every Michael Jordan, that's Krista Van Zandt, has a Scottie Pippen, and that is Kaylee Nelson.
Love it. Kaylee Nelson was first team all-conference. Van Zandt player of the year. Jenny Nagara setting number 9 for Washington. They do a couple of different setters. Both of these teams will run 2 setters. Off the block and out, that's Brooks Beasley. And Beasley is more of a setter than an outside hitter, but she tools the block. It's 1-1.
Yeah, really interesting lineup. They have a little mix and a little match. Sometimes the setters hit as well, and not going to be something that Washington's used to seeing, this creativity from the Alabama State offense.
Jamie Coleman comes off the bench to serve. Alabama State, a school about 1/4 of the size of the University of Washington, but now they only let 6 players on the court at a time, so it doesn't much matter, does it? Back set to the outside. There's Kaylee Nelson. All Pac-12 first team, averaging better than 3 kills a set.
Great blocker, great attacker. We see her on the left. This time the right has so much range as a hitter.
Melanie Wade, another big name for UW at the service line. Came out of Palo Alto. In fact, Melanie Wade went to Palo Alto High School, which is literally across the street from Stanford. Amber Bennett, we talked about her already. She's the Southwestern Athletic Conference Offensive Player of the Year, 386 kills. But Kevin, I think the most impressive number, she had almost 350.
Really amazing numbers. The block numbers through the charts as well. Really going to need to be that force at the net for the Lady Hornets, Alabama State.
Liana Sibelda, number 10 for Washington, makes it a 3-2 Husky advantage. The key, just like in the NCAA basketball tournament, is when you're in an underdog and you're on your home court, get out quickly and remind them that they don't belong here. If you leave an underdog in it, they start to gain confidence, they settle in. They're playing with house money. Nobody expects them to give Washington a run tonight.
And McLaughlin, one of the best. This team undefeated at home, 13-0 this year.
And they've also won their last 13 NCAA tournaments at home. In the double block, it was Rachel Smith. Chance here for Washington. Set to the outside is Cassie Strickland.
Strickland, one of my favorite players in Pac-12. A new breed, you know, undersized, only 5'8", but what she brings to this Washington team has such athleticism, plays all the way around, 6 rotation player, lots of ball control.
Yeah, got a great balanced resume as well. She's good in digs, aces. Through the hands in the back row.
And typically Washington will not use her that much offensively, but really early on here, 2 of the 6 points for UW from Cassie Strickland hits.
You know, Cassie Strickland is pretty tough. She actually played Pop Warner football for 3 years as a kid. She was a quarterback and a linebacker.
That's awesome.
Into the net, and falls 7-2. This is just the start that Washington wanted. They wanted to make it a quick night. Quick timeout by Penny Lucas-White. This is a smart timeout because if she waits too long, they're going to be on a plane back to Alabama. Washington is the number 3 seed in the tournament, number 5 in the country. A little work to be done before they can move on to the next round.
This Pac-12 volleyball production is brought to you in high definition by Xfinity, only from Comcast.
University might be a new name. The school actually dates all the way back to 1867, and they've come a long way, all the way from Montgomery, more than 2,000 miles. Clarence Carter, jazz musician, and Fred Gray, who was the attorney who represented Rosa Parks. Alabama State University was the Southwestern Conference champions for the first time. Penny Lucas-White has turned this program around, built it from the ground up, and even though she's only in her 3rd season, Kevin, every player on the roster was recruited by Penny Lucas-White. So they're all hers now.
And you've got players as far away as Riverside, California, who in the bio said, we came here for Coach Penny Lucas-White. She's so convincing, and she just got us buying into the vision.
She's got a great name besides Alabama State. Coached a long time at the Air Force Academy, almost 13 years. Also was the head coach at Memphis. He has nearly 250 wins on her resume. Washington continues to roll.
Washington, the best serving team in the country. That's going to be really one of the big challenges for Alabama State, how they can receive serve. And Cassie Strickland, one of the best.
178 aces coming in for Washington, by far the most in the Pac-12. And if you're new to collegiate volleyball, the Pac-12 is by far the deepest and best, most talented conference in the country. 12 Pac-12 teams, obviously 9 are in the NCAA tournament. Bump set by Katie Beals. Again, 2 sets for Washington. Beals is 7. And Nogueira is 9. That's Krista Van Zandt, Player of the Year in the Pac-12. She's been good ever since she got here. You mentioned before the Freshman of the Year back in 2011. Set to the outside. Kylie Munoz. So you have Munoz on one side and Kristen Van Zandt on the other.
And Van Zandt with just a little hop and an absolute crush, finds that low seam. You know, you look at her game, she doesn't have a weakness. She passes well, she blocks well, serves, plays great defense. Really the prototype.
Her first kill of the match, she does have 2 digs already. Back set by Brooke Beasley for Alabama State. Beals outside to Van Zandt. You would figure Washington will just keep going to Van Zandt until Alabama State show that they can at least affect her shot. They run the middle. Melanie Wade couldn't terminate the point. Confusion, second time in a row. On this point, Alabama State has had to give the ball away. Munoz is denied. Now Alabama State is in a defensive posture 3 times, just shoveling across, and eventually you're going to run out of chances. Van Zandt, her second kill.
But really impressed by Alabama State's defense. You know my notes, they're number 7 in digs in the SWAC conference, but here, 3 or 4 really high-level defensive plays.
They were the top defensive team in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. They held teams to a 166 hitting percentage. Off the block and down, that's the point. Dragana Vorsic, kid from Serbia. She's a junior and a transfer. She gives them a little more size in the front. That's one thing when you look on paper. They just can't measure up, literally only 6 feet in that outside hitter. From the right side to the left side, Chelsea Scott.
Chelsea Scott, not a normal start, but getting some starting pay, early playing time with the big block on the outside.
Yeah, Alabama State got some bad news. When they won their conference tournament, they lost one of their best players, Tierra Kelly. Injured her finger. She's also got a bad shoulder. She was the best outside hitter in that conference. When Alabama State went to their conference tournament the final day, they had to play 3 matches
It's crazy.
in one day.
I've never heard it. 5 matches over the course of 2 days, 24 sets they played.
That's unreal. How do you play 3 matches in one day?
Wow. And all of them were 5-set matches.
Van Zandt, corner to corner. Is that right? So they played 15 sets of volleyball.
Yeah. Or of do-or-die volleyball, where if you lost any match, you're out.
They had to earn their ticket into the NCAA tournament. Jenny Nogueras. Spray the return. Give Nogueras an ace.
You know, you think about the great serving team, one of the things that you come up with is variety. You see the jump serve of Strickland, and now you see Nogueras with the jump float. So many different looks, so hard to line up as a passer against that package.
Nogueras, a senior from Puerto Rico, that was her 28th ace of the season. Now she sets. Van Zandt off the high hands, ends up on the scores table. It's 14-7.
If you're Coach Penny Lucas White, you got your 2 biggest blockers out there on her. You got 6-foot Vorsic and you got 6'1" Bennett, and still Van Zandt so successful on the outside.
Penny Lucas White trying to calm everybody down and slow things down. She's talking to Brooke Beasley, her setter. The junior from Winfield, Alabama, averages a little better than 5 assists per set. She has 700 assists coming into this one. She's devastating from the service line, but we haven't seen it yet. She has 45 aces on the year. But look, it's just like a point guard in basketball or a quarterback in football. If they're not distributing the ball to the right people, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, and this is a good timeout by Penny Lucas-White. You know, we talked about her vision and kind of the leadership. Most impressive how she upgraded the out-of-conference schedule. You know, she had them going to Alabama, Arizona, Florida. In fact, they played in Washington State last year at Washington State. So, you know, this is a team that has traveled and knows the state and knows what this high kind of level looks like.
Well, you and I were talking about Penny Lucas-White before, and she was a national team player. She was a name before she made a name for herself as coach.
Longtime pro. She was the SEC MVP her freshman year. You know,
at LSU.
Yeah, just high level, very respectable, and someone you want to go to battle for. And she's really done such a good job with this young squad.
You know, I wondered if she was in the locker room with her team and LSU, her alma mater, was coming back against Michigan. Maybe she ducked out in the tunnel for a quick peek to see what the Tigers were doing. Bayou Bengals came back against Michigan, down 2 sets in the match prior to this one, and won it in 5. So LSU awaits the winner of Washington and Alabama State. That'll be on this court tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. First time Alabama State runs the slide with Amber Bennett, but the set was way out front of her, and then Washington with a poor set as well.
You know, Washington known for their diversity of offense. Van Sant, the #1 weapon, but they use both outsides, go to the right a lot, and in the middle as well.
Ellen Jones, 59 aces, had 6 in one game this year, but she leaves that one in the net.
Best server on the team, and if you're Alabama State, you got to take chances at the service line. You're going to be okay missing some because that's where you're going to equalize.
Back to Bennett, but the timing was off. She had to chop steps. Orlandini had that bump set. The libero for Washington tipped across. Bennett showing a lot of athleticism just to keep that play alive.
You know, we're in the NCAA tournament and the nerves are at all-time high. Both sides, we've seen a couple misconnections in the middle because the middle blockers coming in too early. You just give up some of that patience. You're so jacked up.
Cassie Strickland, her 3rd kill. Van Zandt leads UW with 4. And Van Zandt moving from one side of the service line to the other. See Jim McLaughlin, the UW head coach, right there with his arms folded. Outside, Christine Madison for Alabama State.
Talked about a lot about Lucas White, but you talk about McLaughlin. He's holds history himself. Only coach to win a championship on the men's and the women's side, and has his team with the conference championship. Last time they won it, they won the national championship in 2005.
Yeah, I'm sure that they're well aware of that, although McLaughlin never pays attention to things like that, or at least he doesn't admit it.
Yeah.
All the way to the back line, Aldini had to play it. Remember, in volleyball, any part of the ball on any part of the line, and that's in. It's a double hit.
Another set outside to Strickland. She's got 4 kills, no error, hitting a perfect 1,000 so far.
Over 300 victories at UW, over 500 victories as a head coach for Jimmy Mack. 17 serving 9. It's out. First round of the NCAA volleyball tournament. Washington is the 3 seed. Alabama State is a long shot. Jim Watson, the Olympic Kevin Wong, in Seattle on the Pac-12 networks. And a big crowd inside Alaska Airlines Arena. We've already seen LSU come back and beat Michigan in 5. They await the winner of this match. Teams will meet tomorrow.
And as we see Nelson off the bench, one of Jimmy Mack's priorities in the upcoming year, she plays 3 rotations now, only the front row. He wants to elevate her all around and get her in there the whole 6 rotations like that.
Overpass and Strickland just poaching, waiting for it. Strickland's got a grin on her face and 5 kills to lead the Dogs.
Not used to getting so many opportunities offensively, but you called it. Big smile. Getting shots tonight.
Those ones you dream about, right? Give an overpass without a challenge.
Exactly.
Washington's hitting 4 of 7 as a team right now. Alabama State 176. If you don't understand volleyball, think of it as a betting average. 400. It's pretty good. Here's Brooke Beasley. We talked about her at the service line. 45 aces on the year. Had 4 in one match against arch rival Alabama A&M. Munoz had a tip it across. Beals goes back to Munoz. Kylan Munoz converts.
Munoz, an interesting story. This is a bonus year for her. She was actually supposed to lose her 4th year last year, be done with her eligibility. They appealed with BYU and got an extra year.
Strickland. Crowd responds. Orlandini. Beals, and they run the middle with Seibelman. I just don't think Alabama State has enough defensively to cover pin to pin and be strong down the pipe.
I don't think anyone in the country does. You know, when they're in system, Washington, very tough to stop.
Yeah, it was Mila Marshall one-on-one defensively for Alabama State. She only goes 6 foot. Seibelden is 6'1 plus. Van Zandt. Nice dig. Louisa Grizz with the dig for Alabama State. It's not going to show up in the book. 22-11.
First, see the power game from Vincent, and then the smart play on the block. Just makes good decisions, good all-around game.
So the ball dancing on the tape. If anybody touches it, it's a dead ball. But everybody stayed clean. Beals again to Seibelden middle, and there is Marshall. Marshall got a ball, but she also bumped the net. That's got to be frustrating. She's up against a pretty strong challenge, made the play, and just clipped the net with her hands. Crowd helping out Strickland. And Zant, right through the block, we got to the back row. Set point.
Waddy, you talked about coming out here, taking care of business. So far, Washington's doing just that.
Well, you know, Jim McLaughlin talked to them. It's the first round. Don't get confident. Even if you win, you got to come right back and play again tomorrow. And Cassie Strickland maybe just had the best set of her career. 5 kills, 2 aces, a couple digs as well, and Washington rolls in the opener. 25-11. Jim McLaughlin won the national championship back in 2005. He also won a national championship with the men at USC. He's been to the big dance, come home a winner. Washington is hosting the first 2 rounds, but actually they're part of a bigger dance, the Los Angeles Regional. USC is the host team. Washington and USC, 2 conference teams, could meet in the final of the regional, but there's a lot of work to do in the meantime. LSU won earlier tonight. Creighton and Kansas are also through. So if you project Washington on that line above LSU, the winner of that one then plays the winner of Creighton and Kansas. We came in talking all about Krista Van Zandt, but in the first set it was all about Cassie Strickland.
New generation of 6 rotation outside hitters, a lot like Carly Kahn at Missouri. You know, it's like having 2 liberos out there. They can pass, they can play defense, and when you get the kind of offensive production as well that Strickland just put on display, that's a bonus.
And Washington as a team hit 455 in the first set. Alabama State hit 095, but more importantly, you're looking at defense for Washington. Amber Bennett, who's their big on, and Ken is the Southwestern Conference Player of the Year. Only 1 kill on 6 attacks. Outside to Beasley, she misses wide.
And you look at Alabama State, and we've talked a lot about the coach. You got to talk about the leadership on the court, and only 1 senior out there, and that's the libero, Louisa Grizz.
Teams traded sides, so Washington right side of your screen. And the old gold black of Alabama State on the left. Double block, it falls at their feet. That's a point for the Hornets. Alabama State 25-15, 8-0 in conference. Their first conference championship ever. Their first NCAA tournament appearance ever. Washington is playing in the tournament for the 12th consecutive year. Take it over.
Nice play.
Straight on. Nagaris and Zant cut it wide, and Beasley. Out. It's out.
And that connection with Wade still struggling a little bit in early, but still the length, 6'4", the sophomore, able to make it work. Their middle play, probably the biggest improvement on their level team this year for Washington.
Yeah, it really started with Melanie Wade last year. She came on at the end of the season, and so that was kind of signal with Jim McLaughlin. Hey, we can use that middle more. That can become a bigger part of our offense. You can't just run it. There's got to be somebody there that can produce. Once again, Alabama State playing a little rope-dope here, laying back, playing defense, taking it across, extending points. Nagaris, back set. Play on. Van Zandt got tripped up. She's okay. Through the hands of Beasley. It's a point for Washington. Van Zandt is shaking her left wrist a little bit.
Yeah, really got to pay attention to Van Zandt. Went down awkwardly. Didn't see anything at the end, but that's something you don't want to see for Coach Jim McLaughlin.
Yeah, my eyes stayed on Van Zandt, and you can see the look on her face, and a little floaty at false 5-1. That'll make you feel better. Remember, they got to come back and play in 24 hours if they win.
So wicked, that floater, that nickel ball, no spin on it, so effective.
Back to back, now Van Zandt pumping the fist, big smile on her face.
We've seen the fastballs, we've seen the big Strickland jump serve, the Nagaris changeup, and now we got that knuckle float that's so tough to pass.
So the look on the face of Penny Lucas White, the Alabama State head coach. You know, when Washington gets rolling like this, and we've seen them do it to some of the best teams in the country, Stanford, USC. It's like a train coming downhill.
It's such a train.
You know, if you stand in their way, they're going to run over you, but how do you stop it? How do you slow it down? Garris to Strickland. And Strickland's going to get a kill that went all the way across court. Landed outside the lines.
And their two losses, you talked about it, on the road, one time at Colorado, and everyone knows about the elevation there, the ball moves so differently, and then the tough match at Stanford where they lost as well.
Yeah, they got rolled at Stanford. They lost in 3 straight. That's a lift. Double contact on Alabama State. It's 8-5. But Alabama State feels like they can get some traction here. You can see them digging in there saying, look, we can play with these guys. We're past the intimidation factor. They coughed up the first set, 25-11. Worst thing in the world for Alabama State would be to get run out of here before they get anything going, and they'd go frustrated. It's 9-2 in the second.
And the problem, you've talked about it, they've made some great defensive play. They keep on giving free balls to Washington. Washington in system, when they have that free ball, they're just so dangerous.
Beasley to Scott.
Wow, the block of match so far.
Kaylee Nelson.
Perfectly timed swing block, just textbook UW form, and the perfect time on the outside.
Crowd seems to get a little louder here on a block over a kill. Overpass, second time tonight that they spoon-fed Cassie Strickland.
Absolute candy and making them mad.
Strickland is having a night. She's got 9 kills already. And Cassie Strickland doesn't even really show up on the kills list. She's more about defense. She's more about serving. Tonight, she's about scoring and winning, 11-2. To 18-2 in conference, won their 4th Pac-12 championship. They were 3rd in the conference in hitting percentage, 1st in aces. They were 3rd in blocks, 4th in digs. What I'm saying is they're a balanced team. And so far tonight, first round of the NCAA tournament at home, 25-11 over Alabama State in the first frame, and 11-2 here in the second. Melanie Wade to serve. Jim Watson, Kevin Wong on the Pac-12 networks. Big crowd inside Alaska Alliance Arena. Waiting the winner of this match, the winner of the first match tonight, LSU. Came back 2 sets down to beat Michigan. The next match will be 24 hours from now. Same board. Oh, they ran 2 to the net at the same time. I haven't seen that wrinkle, and that's Ella Marshall.
You know, you talk about Pac-12 and winning the championship here. It's so interesting. We cover all the Pac-12 matches, and we're kind of biased and jaded towards the strength of the schedule here. Pac-12's undefeated in NCAA tournament play so far, 6-0 going into this match, and the most entrants, 9 entrants into the NCAA tournament. 14 of 32 national championships owned by the Pac-12 Conference.
Yeah, and if you haven't looked it up yet, the teams that had advanced in no particular order: Arizona, Oregon, California, Arizona State, USC, Stanford, Colorado, Utah, and of course the Washington Huskies. And so far the Pac-12 is perfect in the NCAA tournament. In fact, USC and Stanford are into the second round already and playing right now. Ellen Jones, junior from Seymour, Indiana. That's in. Nobody home in the back. A big gap, only 2 players on the back line.
And at the end of the play, you're going to see Kill there, but what makes that play the perfect pass from Van Zandt. All year long, the Pac-12 teams have been challenging passing, and all year long, she's answered the test.
Yeah, that's the big test for an outside hitter, right? How do you pass the ball? Is they're going to serve her much like you used to put up in Beach, right?
You're the big target, especially if you're an offensive weapon. She could be a great passer, and she is, because she's going to get so many of the sets, so many of the opportunities. People want to wear her out. Hasn't worked so far.
Not so far.
This is one of the cool displays of collegiate volleyball, when the fans start chanting for you as you're serving the ball. I obviously I didn't serve tough enough, because that's got to be that's on your list right there.
You didn't hear this?
No.
Here it comes again. That's fun. Strickland is paying off for him. She just had another ace. That's 3. And Penny Lucas White says that Washington was over the net. She's going to argue. She's over talking to Marcia Costley, the down official. Right away, she gave the signal over the net. Now, in volleyball, you cannot reach across. Once it leaves her airspace, you got to let it go. Into the net, I think they at least threw off the pace, the rhythm of Cassie Strickland.
And that was what she was after, Coach White. The ball was definitely a back row block from Alabama State, and they need to themselves serve upper on the back line.
5 serving 17. A lefty, Jamie Coleman. Jump set by Katie Beals. Van Zandt. Van Zandt now with 6 kills. She has 6. Cy Belden has 6, but Strickland has 9. This is the balance I was just talking about.
Yeah, and it's with 2 setters, the 6-2 offense. It's really amazing that they're able to transfer so seamlessly between setter and the other setter.
Rachel Smith, and that's out. 19-5.
Smith limping a little bit after that swing. You've got to think about that, those 5 matches over 2 days, and maybe the SWAC has to take a look at that and reconsider, because that is torturous.
Back set side to Bennett. Stop Van Zandt. And some help, Melanie Wade. Washington up 25. They are turning the first round of the NCAA tournament into a practice. Everything's going well for them right now. That's Amber Bennett. Set was a little bit outside, almost to the pin, but the block right there tracking all the way.
You know, I talked to Coach Jim McLaughlin. I said after the Colorado loss, and we were talking about how it was a great learning opportunity. They needed to mature. The team needed to take more ownership and more responsibility, and those kind of lessons in the middle of the season, early part of the season, they start transferring to this NCAA tournament run.
Krista Van Zandt has been there all along. Washington, the 2013 Pac-12 Player of the Year. She was the Freshman of the Year in 11. She had a big year as a sophomore, All-American, second team last year, and now she is the best player in the best conference in the country. Now Washington has 3 players of the year in this conference. Back in 05, Sandra Tomasevic, and in 06, Crystal Morrison. Here's the rest of the postseason awards. Ebony Wanabu from USC Freshman of the Year. That had to be almost unanimous. She was unbelievable. Maddie Bugg at Stanford, so much fun to watch. And Maddie Bugg comes from a long line of setters in her family, and running that offense for John Dunham down there. I love watching. When a good setter is right in rhythm with her hitters, it's so much fun.
And then Hagelin at the bottom, the libero, same exact thing for USC. Really, in a conference with great libero play throughout, she stands atop the list.
So Pac-12 turning the page on the regular season and devouring all of its competition in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So far, the Pac-12, 9 teams, all unbeaten. Chance here, and we'll see. Orlandini to Van Zandt. Dug the back row momentarily by Grizz, but sprayed it backwards.
You know, the end of that play, it shows you where the heart of Alabama State is. That ball's going out of bounds, but still the pursuit from all 4 players running, hustling after. You can see the tone of hard work for this team.
There's the block again. Munoz and Wade. Wade always seems to be involved.
This is just a bigger block. The Southwest Athletic Conference, they don't have the size of block, the quality of block, and really been a hard adjustment here for the Lady Hornets. Smith.
Well, Smith knows there's going to be block, probably a double block, so she's trying to put a little heat on it. And it's 23-5 coming up at the intermission. We will send you back to the studio. Ashley Adamson, the latest on Chris Peterson, the new football coach here at UW. And of course, Graham and David Shaw ready for the big Pac-12 football championship game, which is tomorrow night. Yeah, big day in Seattle sports. Robinson Cano signed with the Mariners for $1 trillion. And Chris Peterson from Boise State is now the new head coach at the University of Washington. Set point. Looking for it defensively, and it is in. No, missed it. Just out. 2 out of the 3 officials. That's a consensus. 25-5, Washington in the second set. Well, this is exactly what UW wanted to do coming in. They are dominating, and they're making quick work of this.
We saw
UW fans here, the crowd, and look, they have to come back and play in 24 hours, so they want to get this thing over with as fast as they can. 25-11 in the first, 25-5 in the second.
The workmanlike effort, and you got to give a lot of credit to Coach Jim McLaughlin and the tone of hard work that he set here with this program. And Coach Jim, not an easily pleased coach, but you got to like what you see so far.
Yeah, we're playing pretty good. We did make an error in that second game, decided out at 100%, and and we just got to keep the edge a little bit. But these guys are different, Kevin. They want to be normal, and they want me to push them, and it's a good deal.
How about Cassie Strickland? This is the best I've seen her play all year.
Yeah, she's really on, and she's kind of one of those people that just likes the atmosphere and can play, pressure points, all that stuff. She's just got a good heart. She's pounding.
Appreciate the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you in the third set. Jim McLaughlin in his 13th year at Montlake, 4th conference championship, and they won the national championship back in 2005. And as Kevin told you, that was the last time that Washington won the conference. They went on and won the whole thing. And this year, the Final Four is at Key Arena in Seattle. Krista Van Zandt, the player of the year in Pac-12 with 7 kills, and the Dogs are on a run. Lots to cheer about on Montlake. Washington, the number 3 seed in the tournament, making quick work so far of Alabama State, 25-11 and 25-5. Want to win those audiences? We just watched USC beat Cal State Northridge and Stanford beat Oklahoma. So counting those, the Pac-12 now is 9-0 in the tournament. Washington is rolling here. That would be 10. Arizona State is also winning right now. That would be 11-0 in the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. Jim Watson, the Olympian, Kevin Wong. So Pac-12 is all excited about it here in Seattle. We were also talking about the offense. Krista Van Zandt going off. Cassie Strickland's having a great match. but it's defense so far for UW.
They've been firing on all cylinders, and then you throw on top of that 7 aces from 4 different players. The Pac-12 conference champions kind of holding that tone that the whole Pac-12 conference is doing in this tournament.
Washington is hitting .521 as a team, and Cassie Strickland is hitting 1,000. She's 9-9, but she's getting help. Cy Belden with a kill. You knew that Krista Van Zandt would be involved. There's the defensive net.
And the big block on both sides, the right and the left, seamless. Really nice swing block. University of Washington style, and the offense going on fire. The one bright spot for Alabama State, their defense. They are nearly as many digs as Washington, a 15-17 disadvantage.
So for Alabama State, you've been playing for 4 months. You won your conference. You ran the table. Then you went and won your conference tournament. You earned your way into the tournament. You earned your way to Seattle. And so far, not much to show for it, and they come out with a little fight. Mila Marshall with the block. Well done.
And we've seen crazier things happen. You know, after the 2 sets earlier, an earlier match, Michigan won the first 2 against LSU. They turn it around. LSU wins the next 3.
Good point. It happened right in front of us just before this match started. Yeah, we thought Michigan was going to run the table and be out of here quickly. An hour later, they were still playing. An hour and a half later, they were on the bus to figure out what happened to them. Win 2 sets, lose 3 in a row, and your season is over. Washington now on the left side of your screen. That's Haley Nelson. Alabama State had a 2-0 lead here to start the 3rd set. Jim McLaughlin checking the notes. And you notice that whenever you see that close-up of Jimmy Mack, he's got all those colored pens. They all mean something. It's just like an NFL coach. Back corner, out. Alabama State is calling for a touch. Chelsea Scott says, I didn't hit it there. All the colored pens on his shirt.
Well, we were on air. I asked him about it on air, and he got very secretive and didn't want to disclose anything.
He's not going to tell you. You know how many people have asked him about those?
He looked offended that I asked.
They're always in the same order, too.
Are they? Wow.
Yeah, for somebody with OCD like mine, that appeals to my meticulous nature. I love that.
Well, known for his metrics, known for his stats. He says if it can be measured, it can be managed. If it can be managed, it can be improved. And that's Jim McLaughlin to a T.
Wow, I like that. He's always got the right thing to say at the right time. I think he looks at the whole curve of the season. He doesn't want them to peak too early, but they need to play well in conference. They need to beat teams like Stanford and USC. 26-2, it's the most wins since 2008. And we mentioned it at the top, every year that he's been here, and this is the 13th, they've gone to the NCAA tournament and they've won at least 20 matches. It's funny how he showed up and they got good. Good timing.
And the most impressive part about that is the worst to first mentality. He inherited a program that was the worst in the Pac-10 conference.
Oh, I was here in some of those days, and there were tumbleweeds blowing through this place. Now they're drawing 6,000-7,000 every home match, and the dog pack shows up just like they do for basketball games, straight across. They're standing up. They're all wearing purple.
And Strickland with her first error of the night. And that break between the 2nd and 3rd set, the longest break, it's a forced timeout, and it can do crazy things to teams and momentum.
Of course, the deeper that Washington gets, the bigger the crowds will become. And then, again, don't forget, this is a 3-week tournament. It starts here in Seattle for the Huskies. It could end here in Seattle, not at Alaska Airlines Arena, but just down the road at Key Arena for the first time ever, hosting the Final Four. So it's all falling in place for Washington. Win the conference, McLaughlin's Coach of the Year, Van Zandt's Player of the Year, and the final is in Seattle. Block Cy Belden.
You talk about going through the Los Angeles region. That's going to be the tough one. You got USC hosting. You've got a University of Hawaii team that's pretty tough that could be in that same regional as well. And, the selection committee, they did a great job this year. The one mistake I think they made, they put too much emphasis in the SEC, and they paired Florida, Missouri together, and then they put SC and Washington together, and I think that should have been alternated.
Yeah, that's pretty strange that they ended up like that. Alabama State gets a big point. And the Hornets celebrate. Good for them.
Big smiles, big infectious smiles.
Even on the coach's face. I like it.
Something to cheer for.
It's their first NCAA appearance ever. Washington is making its 18th. 12 in a row. Orlandino set it outside. Kaylee Nelson. It's for Alabama. They're starting to get a little confidence now. That was outside the pin. Set just carried wide. Too excited. Smell on the face of Amber Bennett. The SWAC Offensive Player of the Year. That time she's done. 400 kills on the year. Back set to Bennett. Orlandini right there. Strickland bombing cross court. Missed. Net violation. Alabama State, point to Washington.
Another good swing from Amber Bennett. She's been taking her swing, starting to get a little more timing, but the sophomore, you can see these are some bright lights to be under.
Miss hit by Van Zandt. You'll hear me say that twice a year.
You definitely, though, see a lack of urgency. Such a hard challenge. You just blew out a team 25-11, 25-5. Pretty tough mental challenge to be ready again in this third set.
Yeah, it was 50-16 through 2 sets. Ellen Jones wants to be a 5th grade teacher, majoring in elementary education. Who knows? Double block and covered. Rachel Smith got stuffed, and I think she backhanded it up. A little flipper. Munoz winner.
Munoz, the homecoming queen. Coach Jim McLaughlin says he wants to see her mean side more often. That time, we see the big mean swing on the outside from the senior.
She's a legacy. Her mom played volleyball here at Washington back in, if he's listening, 1990. I didn't want that part of it. A while ago. And her daughter grew up in Monroe, which is just outside of Seattle, and was the Gatorade State Player of the Year in high school at Monroe High. Beals back set to Munoz. Munoz again. Down the middle, Amber Bennett. That's her 3rd kill of the match.
Bennett's starting to hit the connection in the middle. This is something I got from her bio. Her hobby, I didn't even know there was a hobby, texting. That's the next generation.
You know what that means? It means you're getting older. That's out. It happened to me with Facebook.
Yeah.
That'll never last.
Facebook.
You know, I once told Tiger Woods he was coming out of Stanford too early. I've been wrong many times. 11-7 in the 3rd. Amber Bennett had a hang in the air to get that one. Van Zandt against a double block. There's a Grizz back row, but again, it ends up behind him. 12-7.
Once again, that great pursuit from Alabama State, you know. Talk about the things not just about volleyball, it's the student part of the student athlete. This is a coach, Penny Lucas-White, academic awards throughout all her different schools.
Awesome.
Memphis 3.0 GPA throughout her tenure there. Some of her athletes gone on to earn MIT, Rhodes, and Alberta Bart Holiday scholarships through her tenure.
It's a long and proud tradition at Alabama State. They've won 555 volleyball matches all time. It's an old school. They opened the doors in 1867, 2 years after the Civil War ended. Back row, Cassie Strickland. At the defense, we've known her by. She's leading Washington offensively tonight. Nice kick by Beals. Van Zandt.
Rally of the match. Great defense on both sides. The Lady Hornets, their setters play great defense. Ellen Jones, Brooke Beasley, both with great digs, but too much offense from Krista Van Zandt.
Washington leads 2-7 and out 14-7 in what would be the clinching 3rd. Beautiful view of the Seattle skyline. The ferry's probably just on its way in from Bellingham. Ferris Hill right along Alaska Viaduct, right there running right along the edge of the Puget Sound. That's Elliott Bay. And inside Alaska Airlines Arena, this is the place to be tonight, not only because of the volleyball, but it's like 19 degrees outside in Seattle. It is freezing. We did a basketball game here on Saturday. It was 50. Temperature's gone down 30 degrees in 4 days.
Says the California guy. To the Hawaii guy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, to us it's even colder than that, the chill factor. No rain though, it was beautiful today. Blue skies, sunshine all over the northwest. Carries out on the return.
Tell you what, it's rain aces here from the Huskies, and really what set the tone makes this team so scary right off the bat from the service line.
16 serving 7. Jenna Orlandini, all Pac-12 honorable mention. A couple weeks ago against Cal, very important match for Washington. She had 29 digs. Crowd's getting excited because Jim McLaughlin has gone into the bench. That's Kim Condi with 2 digs in a row in the back row, number 14. So the Washington fans very savvy. They know the players that don't get in very often. The newer players, Condi just a sophomore, a start of the future, defensive specialist.
Fans so great here, the biggest attendance number of any of the Pac-12 schools.
Van Zandt just got fooled. He's done that to enough people. 16 serving 9. Washington is now hitting .375. Pass is getting a little sloppy. Overpass some Beals. Reached across.
And the sole senior for Alabama State, Louis Grizz, starting to put a little run together at the service line.
Yeah, just the one senior. They have 3 juniors, 6 sophomores, and a freshman. So just project a year away. They just won conference. They lose only Grizz. Everybody else comes back.
Grizz had a great quote at the selection committee after the televised selection. She said, "We were hoping to go to University of Hawaii, but Seattle will be pleasant as well."
You know, they're different cities. I've lived in both places.
Yeah.
I can tell you. I would say this. I've lived in Southern California, Honolulu, and Seattle, and the best summers I've ever seen in Seattle. It is glorious in the Northwest. At 6 o'clock in the morning, it's sunny. Stays till 10.
Today was not pleasant, though.
No, not today. That's summertime. Cross-court winner off the block. Kaylee Nelson. 18-11. Alabama State is in this one. But Washington can see the finish line. Condi comes out and the crowd gives her a raucous ovation.
And coming in to serve for the first time, Justice McGraw.
Justice McGraw, redshirt freshman from Redmond in the Seattle area.
Got to get your hometown girls in to get some playing time in front of the hometown crowd.
Substitution for Alabama State. We've seen this before. Jamie Coleman will come in to serve. 12 serving 18. McLaughlin knows that just out on the horizon, just a little bit too far for his players to see. LSU tomorrow night. LSU beat Michigan in 5 after trailing 2 sets to love. Outside set winner to Chelsea Scott. Chelsea Scott had 300 kills last year, but then Amber Bennett started getting bigger bites of the apple. 13 serving 18. That'll work, won't it?
Gabby
Garris goes middle.
Number 11, she's gotten a lot of playing time. So nice to have her coming off the bench. Has started throughout her career and sure more of a backup role, but showing she's still got it in the middle.
Yeah, 141 kills last year, and now she's a reserve. And she, too, had a big match against California. It goes under the net. Garris can't get there. And Gabby Parker will have a memory for a lifetime because in the final Pac-12 conference match here at UW, it was Gabby Parker who finished it. her only swing of the night, a kill to win the conference championship. So every time they show that highlight, it's not going to be Van Zandt, it's not going to be Wade or Nelson or Strickland, it's going to be Gabby Parker.
Just like me and you, bud. You carry the ball 99 yards away, and then I run it through the end line. And,
that's all they remember, who scored the touch. Gabby Parker is from Eugene. Float serve is long. I keep mentioning this California match for Washington. They had a one-game lead at the end of the season with 3 matches left to play. They got worked at Stanford. They went across the bay to California and were down 14-9 in the 5th.
Wow.
And came back to win it. If they lose that match, they have to share the conference championship, or maybe they lose it outright. And the rally to win it was players like Gabby Parker that came on in that match to save them.
And you start looking at all the pieces you need to make a championship run. You need a great coach. Check. You need a lot of senior leadership. Check. You need a bench that comes off and can change games. And Gabby Parker really brings that for this team.
Orlandini had the 29 digs in that match. So it was everybody. You knew that Van Zandt and Wade and Nelson would get their numbers. But it's that second wave of Huskies come at you. And remember, California is an NCAA tournament team as well.
And they crushed down North Carolina 3-0.
Back over rolling. Washington goes on to win this one. That would be 10-0. The Pac-12 so far, with Arizona State still winning tonight. They could be 11-0 in the first 36 hours of the tournament. Make them happy in Walnut Creek. Conference headquarters. Beal takes the middle, goes outside. Munoz turn back. Orlandini bumps right back. Go middle, nice tip shot. Gabby Parker. Look at Parker at the game face. She's, I've been here before. I'm the center of attention.
The game face and the golden tiara, a good combination right there.
Orlandini to serve. Block. Van Zandt says there's me. And they stand once again inside Alaska Airlines Arena. It is 24-16. It is set point. It is match point. Middle to Parker. Couldn't finish it. Bennett tipped to the back corner. Strickland, good effort. Beasley, Orlandini dug it. Van Zandt for the match, didn't get it. Overpass, Parker wins it. Gabby Parker again. She is clutch. You want to go home? Give it to Parker.
Jim McLaughlin, one of the few smiles. This is a confident coach, a relaxed coach, but his team putting on a show tonight.
And Jim McLaughlin, a big long hug for Penny Luca-White, the Alabama State coach. He whispered in her ear, and I'm just guessing, but he probably said, congratulations on a great year. You guys are going to be back. This is how it ended. Watch Gabby Parker in the middle wearing the twin ones on the home whites, just waiting for it, and just tipped it across. Jim McLaughlin knows that his team is through to the second round. They will face LSU 7 o'clock tomorrow on their home floor, and all those folks are coming back again. Well, that's exactly what Washington wanted to get done tonight. 11-5-16. They made quick work of Alabama State Hornets, who finished the season 25-16, and you can pencil them in. Washington will play LSU and then Creighton against Kansas. After that, after those, everybody's going to Los Angeles.
You got tough USC team in Los Angeles. You may have an Arizona State team or University of Hawaii team as well. Lots of quality teams in this region.
So Washington takes care of business, and that's what it was. It was just a first step, hoping this long journey will eventually bring them back to Seattle, December 19th through the 21st. The Final Four of the NCAA Volleyball Tournament for the first time ever at Key Arena. Washington is 27-2, and they're through to the second round. For Tim McQuillan, your producer, Timothy J. Sutton, your director, and my partner, Kevin Wong, I'm Jim Watson. So long. from the Emerald City.